With over 400 celebrity interviews and tons of pop culture nerdiness, Too Opinionated is a safe haven for your inner geek. Find us at meistercon.com or on YouTube under MeisterCon Pod. And please subscribe. It would really help us out. Thanks, everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated. I'm so excited today. I've got actress Leishe Meyboom with me. So welcome, Leishe.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you on. You know, we're big Locke and Key fans, and every episode that you're in is always improved. We love when you are in an episode, and you've been in a lot of them the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, I've been in and out with the Savini squad, just tearing it up.
No, I really like your character because she's not in the comic books. You know, I'm a comic book guy, so I was like, oh, she's not in there. But that for me, that's a good thing because then it's different. You know, it makes the story a little bit different, which is nice for those of us that came in having already read it.
Right. Yeah, it was really cool to be part of something that was building on its own, you know, once we started shooting and everything. So wasn't part of the comics, but I got to take a lot of the lead of where I wanted to go with Abby. So that was really cool.
Yeah, it was really well done. When you got the role, did you go back and read the comics?
I read the first like
the little, what do you call it? The first book or whatever. It's got like six episodes or 6 issues in.
Just to get a feel of it, because it's a lot darker than the actual show.
It really is.
And so that was cool to compare the two of like where they were going on Netflix and then what they were doing with them.
They made it a little more family friendly on Netflix, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it is like, I mean, there's elements of that in the comics, but it's a lot more bloody, I find, in the comics.
Yes.
Which isn't a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. And the first group of books or the first season of the show are probably the closest. Yeah. You know, together, and then starting with season 2, it's still got things from the comics, but it's a little more original. With that, which has been nice. I think it's really well done. We're very disappointed to hear there's not a season 4 coming.
I know it is disappointing, but it is. But you know what's also really cool is that there are so many keys, and like our prop department really brought it with the keys and like made each of them so beautiful. And I hope we got to incorporate. I mean, like there's hundreds of them, right? Like
there's a zillion keys. Did you get to keep a key?
I didn't get to keep a key, nor did I steal one.
So. Why wouldn't they give you guys a key as a memento?
I don't know, but that's okay. We have other mementos, so that's okay.
Yeah. I've got this idea that the way I'm going to break into Hollywood is once you book a role, you've got your agents, your managers, your publicist, all of that. I don't want any of that. You do all that. But once you book the role, then I'll come in and I'll negotiate things like, well, okay, she'll do it. But when it's done, she gets a key. She gets to leave with a key.
It depends what kind of key, though. It depends. I would want the anywhere key. If we're gonna negotiate, let's get something that's gonna give me some free travel.
Yeah, see, that's the one I would want too. And I wouldn't use it for anything bad. I'd just travel.
Yeah, same. It just be, and no more subways, no more traffic.
Yeah.
It would just be, everything would be so much easier.
I feel like I'd spend a lot of time on the beach.
Yeah. I mean,
because you could just pop onto the beach.
Yeah.
And then when you're done, just pop back home.
Exactly. Or just like have lunch in Italy. And
there'd definitely be some food in there.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of eating. There'd be a lot of just exploring the world. I don't know. That's my favorite key.
I would be the fattest key holder after about a year, because that is true. It'd be kind of addictive. Like every day I would be popping somewhere to eat.
That's so true. Like, yeah, it would be really easy to just not walk anywhere ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, if you could pop to Italy and have like coffee when you first woke up.
Yeah, that'd be
pretty great.
Pretty great. I wonder if anywhere key affects your jet lag.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, if you pop in somewhere and it's the next day, like Australia, do you like does all of that just hit you at one time?
Exactly. Like we would have to investigate this one.
Yeah, we need to look into that because that could have an effect. You have to be careful how you're using the key. Exactly. But now I could pop to Toronto, no problem.
I know, we could have done this interview face to face.
You could have popped into the studio and we could have been right here.
I know, exactly. Oh, wow.
If only you'd asked for the key.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you couldn't have the anywhere key, which is the best key, which key would you want?
Maybe the time travel key.
Ooh, time travel that's a dangerous key.
I know it's a danger, but it holds maybe too much power. But I don't know. I think that would be another one I would like to have because I think it'd just be interesting to see, I don't know, different eras in the world. And
well, it totally would be. Are you like a history buff?
I'm definitely not a history buff, but I'm curious. I'm a curious buff. So
yeah.
I would have some curiosities just to see.
See, I think I would use it to go back and correct mistakes that I made.
Oh, see, I didn't even think of that.
And not even like real bad ones. They're just, like we all have those things growing up that just they didn't go right and you wish you could change them, even though it's not that big a deal. I would go back and fix all that crap.
Oof, that's good. See, I wasn't even thinking of touching anything in my life specifically. I was thinking that I would just go to I don't know, the 1800s France just to see what's up.
Yeah.
I don't know if can you do that? I think you could do that, right?
You could totally do that, but would you just pop in as is, or would you try to blend in?
I would assimilate.
Yeah. You'd have to find some type of attire that would fit so that you wouldn't stand out.
That's true. I mean, we could probably figure that out, once we're there.
I'm liking where this is going. We've got a plan.
Yeah.
Now we just need to get a hold of the keys.
Exactly. It just sounds like we have a lot of to-do lists now.
Yeah, we do got a lot to do. I know I would not want that snow globe key.
No.
Who wants to get stuck in a snow globe?
I don't know. That just feels very claustrophobic.
Yeah. Or the dollhouse one. Not a big fan of that one either.
No, not a big fan of that one either. No.
I don't want to be little.
No,
I'm small enough.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be little either. It's just too many other set of problems there.
Yeah. Now, if I could be big, I might try that. If you were just a large version of yourself, that might be okay. But I would not want to be a tiny version. I don't like bugs. I don't like rodents or anything I wouldn't want to run into any of that.
Right. Yeah. No, there's a whole series of problems, a whole other universe you'd be part of.
Yeah. What about the ghost one? Would you like that one? Where you could fly around?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
I think I'm a big scaredy cat, so I'm thinking you might run into things that you don't want to run into.
It would be interesting though to be a ghost and run into your ancestors that are also walking about, and just to get
would it make you feel good to find, because you'd find out some things about them maybe, and that would be good? Or would you feel bad for them because they're just wandering around?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not really sure. I feel like it probably answers some questions that you have about your family history. So
that would be the good part.
Or bad,
we've got those, you hear those stories oh, you're related to so-and-so famous person.
Yeah.
Whatever. I was well, are we really? Is that really true? So maybe you could use it to figure that out.
Yeah. Or just find out I don't know how the heck you got here.
What if you find out that your family was just terrible?
I don't know. I think that'd be important information to have though. to find out they were awful people, because then you'd be like, okay, well now maybe in this life I'd have some making up to do.
Does it concern you that if you go into the past, that what if something bad happens?
Yeah,
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, what if you go back and you pop in somewhere and something horrible happens and you're just stuck there?
Yeah, that's true.
Because you're injured or something. Or if you go back in the past, are you in danger of being sick? Or could you make somebody else sick?
Oh, that's so true. Yeah, that's so true.
I think it gets complicated fast.
Yeah, it does get complicated so fast. I honestly, I just thought of it to be a little bit more dreamlike and airy fairy. So I didn't think of the details, but
that would be good.
If you give yourself a time limit, maybe you'd be able to avoid.
I think that's the way to do it. You got to pop in, pop out.
Yeah, you're not there for a lot. Like
you pop in, you see the T-Rex, and then you get out of there.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't touch anything.
Don't touch anything.
You're good. But it would be cool to use the time travel and to go see I don't know, like the Beatles perform for the first time. Do you know what I mean? Like use it just for I
think that's what I would do. It'd be for the cool events.
Yeah.
The ones that probably it wouldn't matter if you were there or not, as long as you didn't touch anything.
Yeah, as long as you didn't touch anything. But you had a good time, so it's okay.
That's right. Yeah. But I still think I would pop back and I'd be like, don't go on that date.
Yeah.
There'd definitely be a few things I'd try to fix for myself.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just human nature too, to try to.
Yeah. It totally screw it up though. I know I would totally screw it up. I would come back to the present day and I'd be like, what have I done?
Yeah. Yeah, or you're like the president of the United States all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Like, who knows what we're
yeah. I really shouldn't have went on that date. Well, that's all the questions I have. I think we've answered everything.
All right. That's it. All done? There you go.
I think that's why Locke and Key is so fun and why the books were so fun is because there's so many possibilities.
Yeah, it's true. It really is. It is a very imaginative concept. And also I think the idea of the family collaboration too also makes it really special as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, that's a neat dynamic, and I'm glad they kind of figured out how not to forget stuff if they didn't want to forget stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I would like the being able to go into your own head. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, see, I'm okay with time travel. I'm okay with ruining the possible potential of the universe, but going in my own head, I don't know if I could do that.
I think I'd like to do that. I would do mine. I would not want to do somebody else's, I don't think.
Yeah, I guess if it's your own head, you can create your own kind of universe inside there. So yeah, maybe. It'd
be kind of like if you're going through an old box or something where you've put a bunch of your things in there, it'd be kind of like that.
What would yours look like, you think?
Oh, it'd probably be a comic book store.
Yeah.
Would be my guess.
Oh,
yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that would be my guess. And then the memories would just be in the different comic books.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would see a black hole of nothingness.
No, you need something. Put a chair in there or something. You're going to need to sit down.
There's a bar. I don't know.
A bar. Now that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
I would definitely be having a Diet Coke machine in there.
Yeah, there you go.
And coffee.
Yes. And
maybe the two side by side, just depending on my mood.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can have whatever you want.
Yeah. And you got to have something. You need a pastry or something to go with the coffee. Diet Coke, I'm okay. That's treat enough for me. But with coffee, I probably want, a cookie or something.
Yeah, just a little sweet, something a little sweet.
Something a little sweet.
Yeah.
All right. See, I would not like your black hole to go into. But if you put a bar in there, I'm there.
Okay, sure, you're invited. I mean, I wouldn't. Right. I'm just joking, right?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
I don't know what mine would look like. Maybe it'd be like, I don't know. I think it would definitely kind of resemble my childhood bedroom-esque.
Yeah, see, I like that idea too.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
Really comfortable, but nostalgic, you know?
Like when I was younger, you know, this is back in the 80s, but I was like I was a comic book collector, but I did the whole Star Wars toy collecting thing. So I'd love to go back to my old bedroom so I could just see all those toys again. That would be fun.
That would be fun.
That would be pretty good. Isn't there people though, like there's people in my family that you couldn't pay me to go inside their head.
Same. Yeah.
I know there's stuff going on in there I do not want to actually confirm.
Right. Yeah, I could totally feel that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like don't you know those people that you're like, what is going on inside your head?
Yes.
But you don't really want to know. You know, like there's just, I don't know, like there's probably a crazy person just running around banging off of stuff in there.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely gives up that kind of energy. Or just like, I don't know, maybe that's the black hole I was talking about.
Or maybe you would like to go in there. That might be kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a good way to like empathize with someone, to understand them, you know, and to understand like what is going on inside there, you know.
I'd like to go into somebody's head that's like a genius, like somebody that's super smart, just to see how their brain works. I think that would be kind of cool.
Or I feel like that might be a little overwhelming to see.
Oh, it probably would be.
Everything that's going on there.
I'm not too bright. I probably wouldn't even know what I was looking at.
Same. I'd be like, what are all these lights? You
know? Now, if someone wanted to come into my head, honestly, they'd probably be bored. They'd probably get in there and be like, this is it? This is all he's got going on in here? I'm like, I'm a very simple man.
Yeah. Yeah. You know? I think mine would be very boring too. But
I like what I like.
Yeah. That's okay.
That's okay.
I mean, I think if anything, you should charge people to come inside your head.
I would totally charge people.
Right? But just a little capital on that.
I was like, but feel free to help yourself to a Diet Coke while you're in there.
Yeah. Do you need anything? A snack? Cookie?
Yeah. I would definitely have a spread. You know, I would be a good host.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to be. They're in your space. It's
you know, have a Diet Coke and a cookie and play with the Star Wars toys.
Yeah, but don't break anything.
Yeah, right? Do not break anything and don't take them out of the box.
Yeah, exactly.
So when I was in college, I owned a couple of comic book stores. That's kind of when I was single and only had to support myself and I was just putting myself through college the best. But before the prequels for Star Wars came out. So it was like pre that. So at that time, there wasn't any, you know, it'd been 10 years since there'd been a Star Wars movie. So I would just trade comic books for old Star Wars toys.
Wow.
And I had a ton of them. But they were, you know, they would come in out of the box so I could actually do stuff with them. So we had a whole store just set up, you know, with Star Wars toys with that. Okay. So I would like to visit that.
That'd be really cool.
Because that was, you know, I knew at the time this is pretty cool. But now looking, you know, 30 years later, looking back, I'm like, ooh, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. But then I got married and started having kids, and I realized that maybe comic book store owner, not the way to,
I don't know. Why not?
Well, just money wise.
Yeah.
It was a nice living as a single college guy. Right. Married guy with kids, a little tougher.
Right.
And then I'll tell you when it ended. 1996, Marvel went bankrupt. And I was like, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over. But then, of course, they came back stronger than ever.
Yeah, in full force. They're unstoppable right now.
I know. And that's so good. That was the whole reason that my son and I got into podcasting, because, he was born after I'd gotten rid of the comic stores, and we wanted a way to connect and kind of share the nerdy stuff. So we're like, podcast. Right. And that worked out pretty well.
Yeah, there you go. Look at us
now. I jumped way ahead, because normally I wouldn't bring up Locke and Key till after. Okay. But let me back up. Tell me a little bit about what got you into entertainment. Why did you want to become an actress?
Well, I'm a middle child, so I think I think that answers a lot of that question.
That does answer a lot. So do you have two siblings? There's three of you?
I have 2 brothers and a sister.
Oh.
So it's a big family. So I'm the second youngest, middle. It feels like a middle.
There's 2 of you in the middle. I know.
Yeah. But my sister is more of the older sister, very much that energy.
So as a middle child, did you use entertaining as a way to get attention?
Or to get out when I was in trouble?
Very good.
Perform, my mom, I would always try to make her laugh, or if I broke something, I would get into another character, or I would try to distract.
That's smart.
My my oopsie doopsie. So I did a lot of that, and I don't know, I did some community theater as a kid too, and I loved it. And then in high school, I kind of shied away from it and started making my own little short films. I went to art school, so I started experimenting with making my own films, and then did that for a bit. And then when I was in my early 20s, graduated from uni, I was like, you know what? I feel like I always wanted to act, and I should just pursue it. So then I just dived right in, freaked everybody out and dived right into it. So
I think that's the way to do it, though, because you tried some other stuff. Mm-hmm. So you didn't, you tested it out. You're like, okay, but this is what I really liked, and you went back to it.
Yeah, and I think other stuff is always around. I don't think we need to subscribe ourselves to one art.
That's true.
So I'm always interested in exploring other things too.
I found that creative people tend to be creative in a lot of different ways. It's usually not just one way.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many ways to express yourself in.
Yeah. Do you have aspirations to get back behind the camera at some point?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to. Yeah, I would love to direct or write something of my own, or produce something.
Do you write?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to mingle on all different sorts of stuff. So I guess I'm just trying to, acting's always the number one, heart thing. I love doing it so much, but it's always nice to explore different aspects of that.
Yeah, for sure. So you went to art school?
Yeah, I went to an art school for high school, and then I got my BFA in art history. So I have nice. So I just nerded out a little bit, and then
Well, do you paint, or do you sculpt, or anything along those lines?
Yeah, I do some painting, watercolor painting, and some writing here and there. Hopefully want to pursue those more publicly. I don't know. It's weird, because sometimes when you have hobbies, they don't necessarily need to be displayed to the world.
That's so true, because a lot of times it's just a way to unwind, or to shut your mind off a little bit. Yeah, and a safe place.
Yeah, exactly. And it can just be for you. But I like the idea of incorporating all of those different mediums into one. So maybe one day there's something will come out of that.
I think that's really cool. Do you sing?
Not well.
No musicals.
Thanks for Locke and and Key, we got to go to a studio and everything. That was like, I mean, Asha and Amelia are like professional singers. And then it was just me and Jessica Macho, like being like, what the heck is going on right now?
There's nothing worse than having to sing when you're singing with people that actually can sing.
Yeah. I mean, confidence is definitely key. You just kind of have to just go for it.
Yeah.
But it was, I mean, it was really cool to be in this. I've never been in a studio before, like a professional sound studio. And that was so cool. But I don't know if that opportunity will ever come again.
I mean, do you play any instruments?
No, I wish I did.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, me too. I'm no musical ability.
Yeah, I'm always so impressed with people who can just make a song. I'm like, how do you do that? You know? It's just like not something.
Yeah, that would be somebody that I would not mind peeking inside their brain and seeing how that works.
Yeah,
because that's way different than mine works.
Yeah, that's so true.
Have you ever been singing to yourself, like just when you're by yourself and like accidentally hit a note that like sounds really good? And then you're like,
and you're like, wait, am I a singer?
Am I a singer? Is it in there somewhere?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like we all have, right? Like, who hasn't done that in the shower and be like, I'm the next Beyonce. This is the best performance of all time, you know?
And then you can't get it again.
No, and then you're like,
you try to recreate it, it's gone.
No, it's gone. It's gone. It was a moment.
I actually did that, or accidentally did that in front of my wife one time years ago, where I like just hit a note. I'm just goofing around, but hit a note, and we both looked at each other like, can you sing?
We're both like, what did I just discover here?
I don't know. I don't know where that came from. It's never come back.
Hey, never say never. If you did it once, you could probably do it again.
I tried to tell her that
potential singing career you might have.
Well, she said, what did you do differently today? And I was like, well, I did drink some Diet Coke. So, but she didn't buy it.
Yeah.
She didn't buy it. You come from kind of a entertainment family though, right?
I do. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Did that influence you at all? Or is it just coincidence that you kind of ended up there?
Oh, it completely influenced me for sure. I mean, it's to me, like, it's like I grew up on sets. I grew up with a lot of creatives around me. So going into acting kind of felt like I was just kind of being with my family, like working with them and people. I don't know. It just feels like it's very familiar space.
Yeah.
You know, some people work in their families like barbershop for their whole lives because it's familiar and like they, you know, it's their parents have always done it. It's kind of the same thing. It's like, I just don't really know what else I would be doing. I'm not like book smart or, you know what I mean? Like maybe if I applied myself, but like, it just felt like a natural thing that it felt like I belonged there.
Yeah, which is what we're all searching for. If you found it, I mean, that's awesome. I mean, so was your family excited about you kind of joining the business, or did they try to discourage you, like, you don't want a part of this?
Oh, they did not like the idea at all. They're like, we do not want an actor in the family.
It's a hard business.
It is very hard. It is like there's lots of struggle and there's lots of ups and there's lots of downs, and that's the reality of it, though, you know. And I think that's the reality of a lot of people's lives in the entertainment business or not, you know. But they were, they were very much like, please, we're begging you, don't do it. But you know, like I'm the kind of person, the more someone says don't do it, I'm like, I'm gonna do it. Yeah.
As a parent, we have all made that mistake.
Yeah.
Of saying don't do that, and then in your head you're like, oh, they're going to do it now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's very much like, don't put your hand on the burning stove, right? And then you're like, I'm gonna put my hand directly on the burning stove.
On the stove. It's going to be fine.
Yeah, exactly. But even with forewarning.
What was your first like paying acting job?
My first, well, actually, this is like a fun little tidbit. I did stand up in Montreal while I was in
Really?
university.
That takes a lot of courage.
Yeah. Well, because I was trying to finding my footing of like where I belong in a lot of things. And I thought it was really expressive. I wasn't necessarily very good at it, but that was my first paying gig.
I kind of love that. Actually, I told my wife that when we were watching Locke and Key, I was like, I think she'd be good in comedies.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I got that vibe. I think you would. I think you could be really funny.
Yeah, yeah. That's amazing. I would love to do something like that one day. I mean, it's just so fun. Like, why wouldn't you want to make people laugh and laugh all day on set? That sounds great.
What was your comedy routine about? Was it stuff that like about your life, or what were you commenting on?
A lot of it was about like the ex-boyfriends I had at the time.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I was doing a lot
of them hear the skit?
No.
Did you get? They didn't like come back to you and be like, "What the hell?"
I know, but I remember like a couple of years later, I told one of them that I was like making fun of them to a crowd, and he was like, "Can you tell me what it is?" And I was like, "I don't have a heart to tell you what it is."
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, it was what it was. It was a moment.
See, I know that if I did stand up, that whatever I was talking about or whoever I was talking about, for some reason, they would be out there in the audience without me knowing it. That would be my luck.
I mean, that's kind of the fun part, though, isn't it? Especially if you're like making fun of them. It's like this is between you and me, buddy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And making fun of them in a lighthearted way, not in like a
that's way. Right. That's right. You don't want to do any permanent damage.
No.
Just a little teasing.
Yeah, just a little tease. It doesn't hurt anybody.
So what made you give that up? Are you at some point going to try it again?
Well, I wasn't very good at it. That's the problem. Like you
got to practice.
Yeah, I mean, it does. I think with stand-up comedians, and this is like, I have a lot of friends who are stand-up comedians, and they are just another breed of human being of like passion and dedication, and like
you have to be, I think, for that line of work. That's such a hard job.
Yeah, it's like insane work ethic, and like you really, really need to love comedy. And I think I just wasn't as obsessed as a lot of these comedians are, and like that was just the reality of it, because I would. You know, like if you're not super in love with something, then you tend to fall.
That's right.
Quickly from it, you know.
What was it like the first time you went up on stage? Were you terrified, or were you fairly comfortable because you had done some theater and stuff?
I was pretty scared.
Yeah.
You know? It was like my first open mic, and like, I don't know, I was just like, I invited some friends, so that was also kind of nerve-wracking because they like everyone's gonna say that you did a good job, even though you were like, that was really bad. Like,
yeah, you're right. If they're good friends, they're gonna say.
Yeah. So it was definitely so scary.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could do it, because there was a time in my life I was like, oh, I think I could be funny.
Yeah.
No. I'm not brave enough to do that. I'm too much of an introvert, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd be surprised. I think you could surprise yourself, though. You know, you never know.
Maybe if I was on a stage where I couldn't really see anybody's faces.
Yeah, I think that's the big part of it, is like seeing people react to like you is like.
But now, if they react and they're laughing right off the bat, maybe that gets you going a little bit.
Right.
If they're just staring at you, though.
Yeah, you're like, oh my God. Someone bring the cane out and just take me out of here. Like, yeah. I don't know. It's interesting, though, because as an actor, like, I'm not afraid to be someone else and like to act in front of other people, because it's like a part, because also you're doing something that's collaborative with other writers and directors. So you're not alone up there, you know? But when you're
that's true. Yeah. Even if you're doing a scene that's mainly yourself, somebody else is up there with you.
Yeah. Someone is there supporting you and guiding you, and like you're not just doing it all alone. But when you're like doing stand-up, it's just you and that mic and your thoughts, and
it's scary.
It's scary. Yeah.
Mm.
I'm scared just thinking about it.
I know, it made me kind of nervous just thinking about it. I'm like, ooh, How about dance? Were you a dancer growing up?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I dance to a steel ball. Like, I don't have any rhythm. Like, this is not.
See, I think I dance like I sing. If I'm completely not paying any of attention and there's music playing and I don't really realize that I'm dancing, I think I could have a little bit of rhythm. But at the second that I realize that I'm moving, gone.
It's weird how that works, right? Like you're just kind of like, you just become so self-aware, and then you're like, how do my arms move? You know, like
I just can't do it. I've never been able to just dance on command.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm so envious of people that just get out there and dance. They're just moving around. I'm like, well, I could do that, but I can't.
Yeah. You know what terrifies me is the flash mobs, like those dance flash mobs. That is like literally terrifying to me. Like, I don't know.
I mean, they're not going to force you to dance.
I know, but like if someone said, like, can you do a flash mob for me? Immediately blocked. Like, I'm not doing it. Like, I can't do that. Too pressure. I can't handle it.
I used to have this fear. So like when I was growing up, the break dancing was the thing. All right. That was kind of the new thing. And I lived in fear that somebody was going to walk up to me and like challenge me to a dance.
That is a fear for sure.
Yeah.
That's a very 90s fear of you, isn't it? Like,
oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. Like, I don't think anybody does that anymore. But back then that was a thing.
A dance battle. I challenge you to a dance battle. Yeah. That is.
I didn't want any part of that.
Yeah.
Well, because back then, so I should have said that. So I used to dress like I could dance.
Right.
Yeah, I had like the parachute pants. I had I had 80s hair and parachute pants and like the muscle shirts and, with the stripes and all that. So it looked like I could dance. So I was always in fear that somebody would look at me and be like, oh, I'm challenging him to a dance.
It was because of your outfit. You were like, oh my God. But if they see it,
Yeah. I could have just stopped wearing those. But,
you know what?
Somebody told me it looked good. And there you go. Then I was wearing it like every day.
That's like such a guy thing. That is like such a guy thing. Guys, like all guys do that. I swear. They're like, I don't know, someone said it looked good, so I'm just going to wear it for till I die, basically.
Till I die.
Yeah, till I die. Yeah.
I remember it. Like it's been 40 years. And I still remember the girl that came up and said, you look good in those pants.
Yeah.
I was like, oh. And then from that point forward, I had like the same pants in a different collar for every day of the week.
Exactly. At least you took note. You're like, I'm going to write that one down mentally.
Write that down.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. I had at the time, I didn't know what to do with that compliment. I knew I was going to keep wearing the pants, but I was very shy back then.
Right.
Despite what I was wearing, I was very shy. So I'm sure I stumbled through whatever saying to her, but I went shopping and bought more of the pants.
Yeah, you made it up for it by taking her advice and buying six of the same blood pants or whatever.
Yeah. I ran into her at a high school, like our 30-year high school reunion and stuff. And I was telling her that. I was like, back in middle school, you told me that you liked the pants. So I went out and bought like 20 pairs, different colors. And she said, she was like, we always wondered why you wore those pants all the time. I was like, it's your fault.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Yeah. Middle school at the time, like high school's kind of bad, but middle school, when you're first kind of going through puberty and stuff.
Oh my
Yeah, somebody tells you something, it sticks.
That is 100% a place that I would not be time traveling to, that era in life. No, that's a very difficult time. I can't even imagine what it'd be like now, like being in middle school with like Instagram, like I mean, I'm not that old, but like we still had landlines till I was like in high school.
Yeah. No, I think it's like kids grow up a lot quicker, I think now. Yeah. I don't know that it's a good thing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely it'd be a weird time to grow up in. But at the same time, they're still 13. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
13 when you're 13 is the same as someone who's like 13, now,
Well, it is. Yeah, we're all dumbasses at that age. You think you know everything. You don't know anything.
Yeah, and then you're also like, don't ever look at me. Like, don't make eye contact with me. Like, I just want to hide away and just.
Well, yeah, because you're in that awkward phase.
Yeah.
Nobody really looks great at 13.
Oh my God, no.
No.
But like, I feel like that awkward phase lasts till you're like maybe 18.
30.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't miss middle school. Like there's times I miss high school a little bit. I don't really miss middle school. Maybe like hanging out with my buddies or something.
Yeah, that's always fun.
It was just an awkward time.
Yeah, it is such an awkward time. I don't know if I miss any. I don't even know if I miss high school. Like, I don't know. I'm just so content where I am now, especially when you go through such growing pains and like, I'd rather just not.
What was your hair like back in middle school? Did you wear it a certain, like, was it shorter than you wear it now, or did you have it in a ponytail, or what was your style?
You know what? My style has always been kind of the same. Like I've just kind of dressed how I feel. I don't know. But there in middle school though, I was in Thailand for the summer because my mom's Thai and we have lots of family there. So we were visiting and my aunt, I said I wanted these like, because everyone was getting those like curtain like those wolf bangs, there's a beaver, like that beaver bang kind of moment. And my aunt was like, okay, I'll give you a haircut. It's fine. She gave me like one of the worst haircuts, but like, and I had to go back to school a week from that day. It's like coming back, whatever. And I was like, I cannot go to school looking like this. So I would clip my hair back. I looked like a baby, like Snooki. Like I just looked so nuts. Oh my God. Like bad haircuts are like, you'll remember a bad haircut for a while.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Especially when you're younger. Because it can scar you for life.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think at one point in high school, because I went in arts high school, so we all dressed pretty eclectic and really expressive. And at one point, I shaved like this side of my head, and I was.
Well, that was the style for a while.
It was the style, yeah. It was definitely, yeah. Well, you know what? Thank you. It was the style.
It was.
Because I look back at it, I'm like, that looks crazy. Like, I don't know. It was just like I just like lost my mind a little bit, and then it was like, wait, never mind, and then.
Well, the nice thing is it grows back fairly quick.
Yeah, it did, but then
it may not seem like it at the time, but.
I think it was worse when it started growing back though, because it's like kind of like weird, grows out in like weird sections, and it's not like.
Yeah, it takes a while.
Yeah, it takes a while.
I had more like, I don't know if you'll get the reference, but I had kind of like Sean Cassidy hair. I don't know if you know, like it was the 80s, but it was more a 70s style. So it was like feathered. It was like feathered back. And it was down. It wasn't a mullet, but it was down kind of long in the back. But I had this brush that was kind of like a horse brush, and and it would be feathered. It'd be feathered back. It was glorious hair, but I hated it because it took so long to do anything with. And then one day it was like, all right, buddy, we're out of here.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking back, I'm like, all right, I kind of miss the hair.
Right. You're like, I've had enough of the feathers.
Yeah. But I will say something, once I started shaving it, which has been years and years ago. Now it's so much easier.
Yeah.
You know, you just roll out of bed.
And you're like, I'm here.
Because like when you're younger, especially, what takes the longest when you're getting ready? It's your hair.
God, I guess so, eh?
Because you gotta make sure your hair's right, especially when you're first getting out of bed and stuff.
Yeah, you gotta look presentable enough.
You gotta look presentable.
Yeah. You know, it's funny that hairstyles is like back now. Like everyone, like all these dudes are wearing like almost like a mullet kind of.
Yeah, I know. It's so weird. It's like all of those styles that looked terrible back then. They're back again.
Cool. So they look. I don't know. I think they look good.
Well, we all loved them back then because everybody else had them too.
Right.
But when you look back, like at 80s hair, you know, the guys had, you know, the mullets or the feathered hair, and the girls was just the higher they could get it, the better.
I know, it was crazy. That looks like it takes a really long time.
We used so much hairspray back then.
You would need it, you know, you gotta keep it together.
I mean, that couldn't have been good. That's probably what the problems we're having with the environment has nothing to do with gas and coal and all that. It's probably the hairspray we're all using.
Right, yeah. The rise of hairspray use in the
because you know it came in those oversized metal cans.
Yeah.
You know, aerosol cans that you would spray, and you'd use like a whole can a day.
Oh my gosh.
It was a lot. Well, think about it. If you had to get your hair to stand up.
That's true.
You basically, it's got to be like glued up in the air.
I can't imagine washing that out. Like that must have taken like a process to wash all of that stuff out.
I had to have.
Yeah, right.
Well, I said it wasn't good. Once I got past, you know, being upset that my hair was going away, and I was like, you know, I can deal with this. This is so much easier.
Well, it suits you. So there you go.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I appreciate that. My wife she says, because she cuts my hair for me because I am not coordinated enough to do it, but she says I've got a very lumpy head. So and maybe I do. I don't know. But I went like she was out of town, so I went and got my hair cut. And the woman cutting my hair said, you know, I was telling her, I was like, man, my wife says I got a pretty lumpy head. And she's like, no, she's like, I've actually seen a lot worse. This isn't too bad. So I was like, could you call her
and tell her that?
Tell her that my head's not that lumpy.
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious.
So what's next now that Locke and Key's over?
Yeah.
You know, what's your plans? Is there a genre that you want to try? Is there something you're working on your own? You know, what's coming next?
Well, right now I'm in the Canadian Film Center, which is nice. A program here in Canada. They have an actors conservatory, and they take 8 actors across Canada, and they help them basically build up their careers. So
that's pretty awesome. So yeah. Did you have to try out for that, or did they like reach out to you?
I auditioned for it. Yeah. It's a great opportunity to connect with other writers and Canadian writers and directors.
That's awesome.
So, and also take lots of agency over your career through those connections. So I started that last week. So we've just been doing lots of TIFF stuff, going out, seeing all the movies. And so that I'll be doing that for the next 6 months. And then hopefully within that, to get some of my own projects developed that I've been writing and creating.
Yeah, it's exciting. What are you writing? What kind of genre are you writing about?
I would say drama comedy, but those things, I think they kind of they go hand in hand, really. You know, depends on the music for for drama and comedy. But yeah, it does. I tend to lean on that, and I love to talk about my experience being multiracial a lot. That seems to be a topic to talk about a lot. And so those are some things I want to explore. And I hope to also sometime next year get some of my art in actual galleries that me and my creative partner are working on.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah, so we have some things in the motion, but
See, I like that a lot. So, and is your main medium watercolors?
No, I think we do. Our vision is to experiment with some film, actually. So.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, so I would like to just explore something that maybe isn't so, I don't know, to the world I've been living in, the Netflix big network show stuff. So
yeah,
just to experiment. Like, I feel like this is the time for me to experiment.
Why not?
Yeah.
If not now, when?
I don't know. Seriously. Yeah. Yeah.
See, okay, I will look for my invite for when you get your show up, because I've been wanting an excuse to come visit Toronto, because I always hear it's such a lovely place to go to. So
yes,
that could be my excuse.
Yes, I would absolutely let you know when that's going to be all managed and ready. Yeah, that's exciting.
You put yourself out there a lot. That's very brave. I think I would struggle with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's only one life. People forget what you do. That's embarrassing anyways. You know what I mean? Like,
well, it's not like you can get a key and go back and
that's true.
Relive the moment.
No, I'm just gonna live with it. But that's okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's lots of opportunity out there, and I just want to see what I can do with that.
Yeah, I think that's terrific. You know, it just dawned on me that my mother with a time travel key would be a nightmare, because she would totally be going back and trying to correct all of our mistakes.
Right. Oh, well,
that she thinks are mistakes.
Right.
You know,
that's very
I could just see it. I'd be, my teenage self, and here comes my mother from 30 years in the future to tell me, don't do that.
Right.
I told you back then not to do it, so I'm telling you now, it doesn't work out well. Don't do that. Yeah. No, I think that's really cool, and I love that you're working on some dramedy, comedy type of shows. Will they have like ex-boyfriend jokes in them?
Probably, naturally. I can't help but go there sometimes.
I don't know how I'd feel about that if I'm watching a movie and you're like, hey, this is really good. And then it kind of dawns on you, you're like, hey, that seems familiar.
Yeah. You're like, is that about me?
Yeah, that's not about me.
But you know what? I think it's important to draw from your own life experience. Like, I don't know any other life but my own. So, like, what else am I supposed to talk about,
Well, that's right.
So
that's right.
Sucks to suck. That's what you signed up for, is what I
That's it. That's right.
Yeah.
It's on them.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you knew what you're getting into. No, it's all
I wrote a few little stories, and my wife paints, so she's doing the artwork for it, and we're doing a little like children's book for the grandkids.
Yeah,
that's what I've already done my part. The story's been written for a while, but she's working on the artwork, and then we're just gonna just for the grandkids, we're gonna pass that out.
I love memorabilia like that. Like, that's always the best.
Yeah, I think so too, because even like, I think they'll enjoy them now, but decades from now, when they're looking back on it, I think it'll have more meaning to them.
Yeah, and I always find it special when I go to like my grandmother's house and I find books that have like writing from like my great aunts, just saying like,
yeah, it's cool.
It's so cool to see that, lineage.
That we had a author that was from West Virginia, and he had written a book, and some people had said, oh, you should read this book because it's about West Virginia. So our family got a couple of copies and we're passing around. And in the book, it's got a whole chapter about my grandfather in it. Had no idea. So I'm reading this book, and then I hit this chapter. He was a Baptist minister, and it had this whole story and stuff from this guy's point of view that we had never heard before. It was so neat.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah. I was like, well, that was a nice surprise.
Yeah. And it's also cool because I don't think a lot of people have that much memorabilia of their history.
No. It's because we never save anything.
Yeah, but we don't save anything, or a lot of things are just verbally passed down, you know what I mean? There's not a lot of physical stuff. So it's so cool when you come across things that are like physical. I found a box of like my grandfather's baby shoes, which was like,
oh, that's neat.
That was really like crazy to think about, you know?
Like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're going back generations at that point.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh my God, you were a baby at one point. What? Yeah.
Of course, you'd know that if you had the key. Then you could.
I know. Well, you got to get it for me. I thought that was part of the deal.
That's it. I forgot. That's my job.
That's your job.
I just haven't figured out how I'm supposed to get paid. You know, because I think I don't think money's the option. I think I just have to get duplicates of whatever I'm getting from you.
I can share. We can share.
I think that's it. I'm like, we're going to need 2 keys.
We're going to need 2 keys. We're going to have to find a lock to make them for us.
Yeah. Yeah. That could be a difficult situation.
That could be. I mean, I think I have an in. I know where the key house is. So I think.
Okay. All right. Fair. Did Steven's son come by the set?
No, I did. He did for the first season, but I wasn't around for that.
He's a really talented writer. Like I didn't realize that was Stephen King's son.
Yeah.
First. But then later I was like, well, that makes sense. He's a really good writer.
Yeah. I think he goes under a pseudo name, right?
He does. Yeah. Which is why I didn't know.
Yeah.
I think I would probably do that too, though. I mean, if your dad is Stephen King, you know, you want to stand on your own a little bit. It's fine if people find out later, but let me try a few. I think I'd probably change that too.
Yeah, especially if your dad's like, and you're a writer as well. Like that's.
Well, that's it. I mean, his dad has written like all the books.
Like everything.
He's like, he puts out a book a week.
I know. It's kind of crazy to think how much he's influenced our pop culture. You know?
Gosh. Yeah, it's nuts. Yeah. It's nuts. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been terrific. I knew you were going to be a fun guest. I'm so happy that you hung in there. We were supposed to do this last week. Didn't work out. And you hung in there with me till this week. It's terrific.
Oh, no problem. My pleasure.
No, it's been great. So yeah, you have to come back. Like when you get your 6 months done and you're starting your own stuff, you got to come back and talk about it.
Oh, I'd love to.
Yeah. We'll do a part 2.
It will be a part 2. Amazing. I can't wait.
So, okay, a couple of little things before we wrap up. Okay. Outside of going through all this cool stuff that we already talked about, anything else that you're doing or that you're working on that we can kind of keep an eye out for?
I guess just keep out for the Canadian Film Center. Check out
that's neat.
Talent. There's a lot of us, and I'm part of that community. So if I'm going to shout out anybody, it'll be my brothers and sisters over here. So
yeah, I love that. I've heard of that. Like some of those programs with the networks in Hollywood will have those little showcases where they do it. I didn't realize I should have, but I didn't realize that other places did that. I think that's so neat because it's such a difficult job becoming an actor or somebody in the entertainment business. You know, why wouldn't you want to kind of foster talented people and help them along the way?
Exactly. And I mean, it's Hollywood North, you know, we have a lot going on here and I'm so happy to be part of it.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. Okay, last thing before we wrap up, where can we find you on social media?
My name's Lord_Leishe on Instagram. And
I know, I love that. That's a cool name. That's a cool name.
I refuse to change it. That's the only social media I have. It's just Instagram.
So you chose the nicest one to go on because Instagram's the nicest social media.
I know. I don't think I would be very good on Twitter. I'm a secret stalker on Reddit, but
oh yeah, no TikTok.
I do have a TikTok, but it's not very interesting.
Well, yeah. See, I have a TikTok, but it's really just so I can see what else other people, like talented, creative people are doing. I'm just watching. I'm stalking people in the background.
Aren't we all? We're all stalking each other. So
yes. That's the one thing I like about social media, because there's so many talented people out there that if there wasn't social media, you'd never know about them.
That's so true. I feel that way about TikTok a lot. I'm like, how is this happening?
You know that they got to spend a ton of time working on some of that stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
At least I tell myself that. I don't know if I'd like it if they tell me, oh yeah, I did that in a couple seconds. No big deal.
I know. I'm like, let me just have this fantasy of like how hard you're working.
Yeah, I was like, that probably took weeks for you to get that whole dance routine down. And you're like, just 30 seconds.
No, I just woke up and I just did it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
It's like, get out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, hold on one second. Hope you guys enjoyed that one, the talented Leishe Meyboom. All right, that was fun. I enjoyed that. If you haven't done so yet, we could really use the help with our YouTube channel, MeisterCon Pod. Please subscribe. It's free, but it would really help us out. You can find all 455 episodes, audio and video, on our website, meistercon.com. So definitely check that out. Can't believe it. We're getting close to 500 episodes. That's amazing to me. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with us again this week. Until next time, bye everybody.